Music has healing power. It has the ability to take people out of themselves for a few hours. I grew up conservative because my mom was a conservative. And when I finally realized what conservatives were, I changed my mind immediately. As children, we tend to copy our parents. The great thing about rock and roll is that someone like me can be a star. We live in an age, in an era where there is so much negativity, there is so much violence in the world, there is so much unrest, and people are at war, that I wanted to promote the word love, and red signifies love. And I'm afraid, in this day and age, trust, which I count so. You know, I love loyalty. I love trust. I went to a mixed school, and I can't remember being bullied at school, ever. I was quite large in those days. Usually, if you're going to be a bully, you'll pick on someone who is small. I didn't bully anybody, and I don't remember being bullied. Everything I thought I'd hate about having children, the crying, the screaming, nothing phases me. I love it all, and it's relaxed me. I just go into the studio, look at the lyrics for the first time when I put them on the piano, and go. If I haven't got it within 40 minutes, I give up. It's never changed. The thrill has never gone, because I don't know what I'm going to get next. And I talked to my doctor, and I must admit, I'm sometimes quite renowned for my outbursts, and I was just very frustrated, maybe a little frightened. I think performers are all show-offs anyway, especially musicians. Unless you show off, you're not going to get noticed. When your persona begins to take over your music and becomes more important, you enter a dangerous place. Once you have people around you who don't question you, you're in a dangerous place. I mean, in some cases with libel laws. They can write things about people who have no course of action because they can't afford to take legal action against them. I am the biggest technophobe of all time. And the danger is, and it's happening, is we're seeing an incredibly big rise amongst young gay people, young heterosexual people, as far as catching hive, which is, in an educated country like this or in Britain, it's frightening. Well, as I was saying, everyone's so nice to me usually. I'm a very wealthy man. I've only been interested in the artistic side of life. At heart, I've always been a music fan. That part of me has never changed since I was a little kid, sitting in a room watching a record go round, looking at the color of the labels. I never really made a full album in Los Angeles before. I grew up at my grandmother's house, and she had a beautiful garden. I used to hate mowing the lawn and weeding, which is what you do when you're a kid. I loathe gardening, but I love gardens, and I have 2 beautiful gardens. For me, music is so passionate. I have to give it my all every time I go on stage. On stage, it was always comfortable for me because that's where I felt at home. I do like Britney Spears. I think she's cute. I think she's fun. And I like her records. You know, I'm not a pop snob whatsoever. I think she makes great pop records. I'm very generous. I have a lot of money stashed away, but I do live my life from day to day. We were both very much the same. We were both very impulsive. We both loved life. We both loved shopping. We both had a love of clothes, obviously, because he was the designer that I kind of wore forever and ever. I love the idea of the teachings of Jesus Christ and the beautiful stories about it, which I loved in Sunday school, and I collected all the little stickers and put them in my book. But the reality is that organized religion doesn't seem to work. It turns people into hateful lemmings, and it's not really compassionate. I mean, Sting is one of my great buddies, and I love him to death. And I agreed with that, and I couldn't wait to change my name anyway, because I'm not too fond of the name of Reginald. It's a very kind of 50s English name. I grew up at my grandmother's house, and she had a beautiful garden. I used to hate mowing the lawn and weeding, which is what you do when you're a kid. I never thought of myself as being handsome or good-looking or whatever. I always felt like an outsider. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but sometimes criticism can be hurtful. Be respectful. I'm a good piano player. I can sing well. I write good songs. If you don't like it, fair enough. But give me a break. I've always wanted to smash a guitar over someone's head. You just can't do that with a piano. I've got that resilient thing inside me, but I wasn't a happy bunny. If you write great songs with meaning and emotion, they will last forever, because songs are the key to everything. Songs will outlast the artist, and they will go on forever if they are good. I have no one to leave the money to. I'm a single man. I like spending my money. Fame attracts lunatics. I've never had a writer's block, but still, I think, is it going to happen this time? You never know what you're going to get. You just put your fingers on the keys and hope. Because I figured that because I was a successful man, I was wealthy. I was, seemingly intelligent, even that I am not intelligent enough to ask for help. There is nothing wrong with going to bed with someone of your own sex. I love places that have an incredible history. I love the Italian way of life. I love the food. I love the people. I love the attitudes of Italians. There's no pressure for me to go out there and say, I've got to have a top 40 hit, because it's not going to happen. If there is a better singer in England than Craig David, then I am Margaret Thatcher. I am the most well-known homosexual in the world. I love every minute of fatherhood, staying up all night, changing nappies, kids crying. I find it really funny and inspiring. It connects you to the world in a new way. Bands today have to learn their craft by putting the hard work in that we did when we were young performers. Who really needs a new album from me? Jesus wanted us to be loving and forgiving. If I was to say what I am, I'd be a labor man. I like Tony Blair a lot. I think he's a good man. And in America, I'd definitely be a Democrat. I'd never be a Republican. I could never go on stage in denims. When Little Richard used to stand up and play, it was just fabulous. And Liberace had the candlesticks and the rings and the gift of the gab. The pianos is the most ungainly rock and roll instrument of all time, but those two people transcended it, as did Jerry Lee Lewis. I loathe celebrity. I can't stand it. I've had an amazing professional life, personal life, but at 64 to have a son who gives us that much love and enjoyment is wow. I do like my rock stars to be a little larger than life. I don't mind the earnest ones at all, but I do like a bit of individuality. I was just genuinely shy. I'd always been a shy kid. I've got a great collection of photography. Once I'd heard Modern Times by Bob Dylan, it really changed the way I wanted to make records. I loathe gardening, but I love gardens, and I have 2 beautiful gardens. I cannot bear gardening, but I love gardens. Jesus wanted us to be loving and forgiving. I don't know what makes people so cruel. The whole point of being in this business and being blessed and being successful is that you're able to do things for your friends or your family, which means that they can have something special in their lives too. But you know, I have a pretty good relationship with the press and the paparazzi. It's just when they step over the line that, enough's enough. People with HIV are still stigmatized. The infection rates are going up. People are dying. The political response is appalling. The sadness of it. The waste. I have a much better relationship with the press than I did. I think because I stood my ground. An agent is a person who is sore because an actor gets 90s of what they make. I do work a lot. I mean, most of my income, I would say, comes from live performances. And then you've got publishing. You've got record royalties. I'm so proud to be on a Kate Bush record. She's always marched to the beat of her own drum. I'm lucky enough and wealthy enough to be able to buy photographs and buy art that inspires me from day to day. I don't want a Picasso on my wall. It's great art, but it's dead art to me. I'd rather have a photograph by someone I've never heard of that really inspires me. I hate to say this, but I always listen to the music and the instrumentation first, and then grab onto the lyrics later. I rarely wear tennis shoes. I'm 5'8". I hate being short. I'd always lived with people, my family, or had people living with me because I'd never liked being on my own. Well, I'm a huge fan of Ryan Adams, who's from North Carolina, and he's beginning to break really quite big. I'm very relaxed. I have a family. I have a partner of 20 years. I have a wonderful life. Nothing could be better. And there's no guarantee that if you get a V and you take these triple therapies or whatever comes along next, that they're going to be successful for you. I don't have to compete in the charts. I can just be myself as a musician, a songwriter, and play with the musicians that I really love. As Elton John, my days on pop radio are over, and I know that, and I accept it, and I'm not unhappy about it. The worst thing you can do to a child, and I've seen it happen so many times, is the silver spoon. I've always been dead set against festivals, really suspicious and wary. I'm addicted to working. I mean, I have a list of 100 countries I want to play in. I'm basically killing myself by traveling so much for no reason whatsoever. When people go to rehab and come out, they go through a difficult period, but I never had that. I tour as many countries as possible, and I've toured every state in America, plus every province in Canada. My mom always used to buy a record every Friday. The great thing about small children is they're portable, so we take them everywhere. But when it comes to 2015, Zachary's going to school, and I want to be there to drop him off and pick him up. I don't want to just be the father who reads them a bedtime story. Well, I was making a record, and I had to choose a name. Because they said, you can't make a record under the name of Reg Dwight because it's never going to. It's not attractive enough. I'm a great lover of children. I never thought that one day I'd actually be a father, but I'm very pleased that I changed my mind. Children are extremely important. They are the future of the world. It's just so wonderful to have someone in the house like a child to turn your attention to. It's not about you anymore. It's about this lovely little human being. I used to get my money at the end of the week. Buy my mom something or buy a record, and that was it. I am so in the past. I'm such a Luddite when it comes to making music. All I can do is write at the piano. When I say I don't have to write pop songs anymore, there's no way I'm going to get on the radio at 60 years of age. Unless I'm doing a duet with Gaga, or I was on All of the Lights, which was a Kanye West record that managed to get on the radio. As a child, as a teenager, I was kind of not allowed to wear fashionable clothes. And I trusted someone to look after me on the business side of life. Well, I've had my fair share in Britain of battling the tabloids. Yeah, I have been with David Furnish for 8 years now. I am such a Luddite when it comes to making music. All I can do is write at the piano. There's a lot of hate in the world. The thing about Vegas is I don't have to fly anywhere, and that really helps. It means I stay in one place for 3 weeks at a time instead of flying backwards and forwards. I grew up conservative because my mom was a conservative, and when I finally realized what conservatives were, I changed my mind immediately. I've never been jealous of anybody's success. I've been flummoxed by it because I don't understand it, but I'm not jealous of it. I heard Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis, and that was it. I didn't ever want to be anything else. I just started banging away and semi-studied classical music at the Royal Academy of Music, but sort of half-heartedly. Simon Cowell and I are great friends, and we wind each other up. Rod Stewart and I do the same thing.